So on a lighter note, let's
On a lighter note.
as we lift.
Yes.
Because you're gonna make me cry.
This is
and then
so good.
Let's sip. Let's take a moment.
We're matching. Our matching game. This is real.
I'm choking on mint here. Hey y'all, and welcome to a new episode of Talkin With Taylor. I'm joined today by the star of On Your Feet here at Starlight this week, Christie Prades, who plays Gloria Estefan. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
I'm so excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you in Kansas City. I saw the show last night, and it's amazing. It was literally blown away. It was the perfect night to see it. It was beautiful, and just all of that wonderful upbeat music outside, and this great crowd of people all dancing.
This theater is fantastic.
We love it here.
Yes.
Have you been to Kansas City before?
I have never, and I definitely want to be coming back. It's beautiful. I mean, the weather couldn't have been any better. I'm pretty lucky to say we've had like 4 months of crazy winter. We've been to like all the cities with like these snowstorms. So we came here and it was like a little piece of heaven. We're like, this is wonderful, and the audiences are wonderful, and we're so lucky to be here.
We love it here. Well, let's jump in. So where did you grow up, Christie?
I'm originally from Miami, Florida.
Okay.
I am actually Cuban American. My parents came around the 70s from Cuba, escaping the whole regime, as we all know. And I grew up there. I was raised there, and I think when I was maybe like about 4 years ago, I decided to, after doing a few things musical theater, because I was doing more recording music, I decided to move to New York for this whole dream thing, dollar and a dream mentality, and was lucky enough to join the cast on Broadway of On Your Feet, and it's kind of been a roller coaster from there, from like 0 to 60, and now we're 7 months into our national tour, and I couldn't be more thrilled to be representing a story about me, about my family, about my culture, about a woman that I've looked up to since I was God knows how old. It's kind of full circle, you know. I kind of like leave Miami only to represent Miami around the nation. So I'm so lucky.
Yeah, because you have the same story pretty much. I mean, we're all connected to be in that. I mean, in that presence.
It's wonderful. I mean, I feel just by getting to instinctively be myself on stage, I get to represent Gloria in an honest way, and I feel like they're kind of intertwined, and it was wonderful to get to know Gloria and to get to ask her these questions, and for her to just be like, everything that you're doing and all your instincts and you trusting your gut is exactly what I would do. So to get the 2 thumbs up from Gloria herself on just being me on stage, it's beautiful to see my world and her world just kind of collide in this beautiful story.
Absolutely, and it's a beautiful story, and it has this wonderful foundation of family. In the story of the musical, Gloria's abuela is really kind of the one that pushes her, she inspires her. Did you have someone in your family that did that for you?
I did, and I still do. I mean, my whole family has been I've been lucky that they're very supportive of whatever it is that I want to do, but my mom I always say she's the true star, because she's like, God knows why he didn't give me the voice in the time. I'd be everywhere. I'd be a star by now. And I'm like, Mom, you are the star. I feel like she's living vicariously through me, because she didn't have the tools coming from Cuba, and she didn't have the support. So she came here and she worked. And so she always promised to give her children that support that she's always wanted. So she's been the one, even when I didn't want to sing in front of people when I was a kid, she was like, canta, like in Spanish. She's like, you need to sing, you need to show yourself, show your talents, and that's her accent and everything. She's wonderful. She's. I mean, my dad as well, my brother, they're very, very supportive. But my mom is the #1 cheerleader. If she can come on tour with us and be like the publicist, she always says, I'm the publicist. She has her social media, and she always like posts about me and my brother. She would do it, and she would see the show every day, just be there right in front. So she's my consuelo. She's my everything.
She could be your understudy. She
is the understudy. She knows the show already. She can be Fajardo. She can be Emilio if she wanted to. She can literally do this whole show by herself.
I think I'll just, y'all just take the night off. I'll do it.
If you give her the go, she's ready. She's like, have my costumes, because I'm coming.
Quick change, no problem.
Yeah, quick change, that's it.
So you mentioned Gloria, and it sounds like you got to know Gloria, and you got to kind of build a relationship with her. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've been, Mauricio, who plays Emilio, we've been very lucky to have them very well involved with the show, not only on Broadway, but with the national tour. What's wonderful about them is and this story is that they treat it like their baby. I mean, it's their autobiography in a sense, and they want to make sure that it's told authentically and it's told right, and we don't lose sight of where they were coming from with each scene, with each time frame. So Gloria and Emilio actually came to our tech process and to opening night and to all the beginning parts of this tour, and they were there, and I was able to just go to dinner with them and to kind of just see how they maneuvered, see how they talked, see her mannerisms, see the way that she carried herself. And Mauricio did the same thing with Emilio, and we were just able to kind of just be with them. And how lovely is that? I mean, you have so many musicals where the individual is no longer with us, you know, that legend. So the actors have to kind of portray based on, you know, research and based on the internet, but we have these global superstars right in front of us, and I have Gloria right in front of me, so I literally have the information, I have the specificity, I have where she was coming from and how she was feeling and what she dealt with right in front of me. So I've been very lucky to have her as a source, even to this day. Anytime I have a question or anytime that I'm confused about something, I'm able to just contact her, and I think that that's something I don't take for granted and something that I've been very spoiled to have with this show.
You can really tell. I mean, when you're up there, I mean, it's just, for a minute I had to stop and, but wait a minute, I was like, hang on, you know, I think that's Gloria. I mean, because you have, and getting to know you and know your story, I mean, this wonderful parallel you have with her story, and you can, like you said, you can really portray it honestly, and you do. I mean, it's just really
thank you.
Amazing. So let's talk a little bit about this national tour. And so is this kind of the first time? Is this the first time you've traveled at this capacity?
Yes, it is. It's my first tour. This whole journey has been a first for me. I got to debut as Gloria on Broadway. How that happened was a miracle from God. But just everything was a first as it came, and doing the tour. This is the first time I've traveled this much. I get to see our nation. I get to see everything. And I get to do a show that I love so much, but it is quite difficult. I mean, I sing about 16 songs live in the show, and mixing that in with the weather that we go to in each city being different, the atmosphere, the theater, even, you know, how everything smells, the hotels. It's quite difficult, and I think this is actually a first tour for maybe like half of us. The other half, they're like legends on the road, but for me specifically, this is like the first, and, you know, it has its challenges. I mean, I definitely have to be like an athlete almost all the time and take care of myself. And, you know, we all get sick, and when one goes down, we all go down. So we're trying to we figure it out. But what's beautiful about the show is that whoever comes, you never see that. You always just see the show polished and beautiful and new, like the first time. And although it has its challenges, like I wouldn't trade it for the world, this show's supposed to be on the road.
And it's this wonderful story of diversity, of family, the message that's behind it. Like you said, it should be on the road. Everyone from all different walks of life, where it's snowing, where it's sunny, where it's whatever, everyone needs to see it. And so have you gotten to interact with any kind of audience members from different places, and how did they react to it?
I think my favorite part is seeing the fans from way back when come in. We get to break the fourth wall. That's what's beautiful about our show, that, you know, we always have to not look at the audience when we're doing theater, but what I love about this is that there's moments where we do, and I get to literally look at people in the eye and see how they're feeling. And what's wonderful is seeing the fans, Gloria's fans from like the 80s, singing along with us. You know, the beautiful thing about this is that we don't have to like sell new music. I mean, people know the songs, people know the story to a certain extent, and you get to just see them interact with us, and I look into their eyes and I'm like, you think this is Gloria right now, and I'm doing my job, because you're really believing it, and that's the beauty of theater and the magic of theater. And I get to connect with them, and I get to see them kind of live their memory of when they were younger and in her concerts, and I get to talk to people, and they were like, you know, this is I went to her concert in the 80s and the 90s, and you did this so well, and I felt like I was really there again. You brought me back to these memories, and that's what makes all of it worth it. I really get to connect with old fans and new fans, like the younger generation that loves her now.
Yeah. Well, last night I sat next to these two wonderful women, and of course we struck up a conversation because I'm the one with the talk show. So it's like, hi. And they were both these wonderful women. They were nurses. They'd just come from work. They were still in their scrubs.
Oh my
and
gosh.
they sat there and they danced to every song. They sang to every song, and they cried. They cried multiple times. And one of them, they said, "That's her." And
oh, you're gonna make me cry, because that means so much.
It was a really special moment. So I think everybody really was moved by the performance. So in the show, there's a lot of high energy. There's a lot of high drama. What's the hardest part of the show?
So without giving too much away, Act 2 kind of takes a little turn. You definitely get to see throughout the show her tribulations, her and Emilio, and trying to cross over from the Spanish market to the English. But there's such a personal moment that happens towards the end. We all know that she had a fatal bus accident that almost cost her life. And I think the most difficult thing for me is channeling those moments where she's in the wheelchair, where she doesn't know if she's going to be able to walk again, and where she has to kind of stay strong and stay focused on getting better. I've never experienced that personally. The only thing that I have to tap into is my brother getting into a fatal car accident back when he was about 18, and I had to be a freshman in high school, and seeing him kind of go through therapy again, be in the wheelchair and get airlifted the same way, and go through all these traumatic moments. I have to tap into that. It's always difficult because we do this 8 shows a week. I do this 8 times a week. So it's definitely a challenge to kind of get into that and then bring it out, like get out of it as soon as possible. But you know, what's beautiful about this show is that while I'm tapping into that, there's always like a light at the end of the tunnel. Like there's always a beautiful end to this story. Thank God, because it was pretty serious. I think that's the most challenging thing.
So on a lighter note, let's talk a little bit more about the tour and on the road. Any fun stories, anything fun? I mean, you can tell on the stage, I mean, you've got this great group of people, this great cast, and you have such great chemistry together, so you must have loads of fun on the road.
I can't lie, we're very lucky to have such a wonderful group of people. This cast is hilarious, and everybody has their own specific personality. It's like a reality show off stage, and we're stuck together. I mean, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we're all together. So are there moments where we're just like, oh, you're getting on my nerves? Absolutely. Whoever says that there's not, they're lying. They're lying. But we have a wonderful group that we have so many incredible and funny memories. Some I can't say on camera, but I have one of my old hairdressers, Marcus, who's now on the Donna Summer musical.
Yeah.
Marcus.
Come back.
I mean, the backstage jokes, it's real. I have so much footage on my phone. If you were to steal my phone, I think we'd all be fired. No, I'm kidding.
Well, speaking of diving into your phone, we play a little game around here called Explain That Gram.
Oh my God.
In which I have pulled some fun photos.
Instagram is dangerous.
It is, yes.
It's so dangerous.
And you never know, because at least if you're like me, you're trying to be cool, and you put, a one-word caption with it, and then you don't know the story behind it. So, yeah, right, exactly. It's like I'm really sitting on an upside-down bucket. And just,
try to get the lighting.
Right, yeah, in my bathroom,
Hey,
in
the bathroom has the best lighting.
It really does.
I hope people know.
So I've got 4 photos here I want to share with you, and I'd love to know the backstory on them. So first up, this sounds like it might be one of those backstage moments.
Yes, this is Marcus.
Marcus, I hope you're watching, Marcus.
Okay. All right. So this was in Charlotte, North Carolina, and his mask. We were actually, for Halloween, we were Cheech and Chong. I don't know if people know about Cheech and Chong, but that's our friendship in a nutshell. But I would come in, and there was one time that he had a can of spray paint and like a lighter. And no one should know this. And I walk in, and he had this mask on, and he literally just like blew the fire and scared the crap out of me.
So this one is fun. This one is.
Oh!
Instead of coming out of the dark, you're coming out of a coffee cup.
This is
coming out of the dark roast.
Right. Oh,
Hey,
I see what you did there.
New caption.
So this is me trying to be creative on Instagram. I actually bought this like Polaroid printer from Urban Outfitters. I'm trying to be trendy.
I had one of those and it caught on fire. It did.
Really?
Yeah,
How?
so beware of that.
Because the picture was too fire.
I think
That's what we would say in Miami, it's too fire.
I like that. I'm going to use that.
There you go. So actually, this was in DC. This was in DC, and I was in a coffee shop, and I was actually working on some edits. And then I was just like, wait, I wanted to try and use these like Polaroids and put them on creative spots everywhere. And then I actually found the coffee cup. And I was just like, diving in to a cup of Joe. That was the creative thing.
I love it. And
You're
this
so
is
great.
the last one. Now this looks fun. This must have been another backstage.
Yeah, this was in Philly. This is actually from a fan. It's a blanket. And this
That's
fan,
cool.
her name is Allie, I think. I always try to remember what each fan gives us and like their names and everything. So Allie made a blanket. These are all pictures from our performance in Washington, D.C. And I left it with my grandma in Miami. She's like wearing it all the time. I love it. But it was honestly one of my favorite gifts. It was so thoughtful and so beautiful. And I was like, I gotta take a picture for the gram. Thank you, Allie, if you're watching this, because I love the gift.
Oh, I know what the one was. And this is really just for me because I want the insider dirt. I was doing my research. And you were on an episode of Orange is the New Black, which is my go-to.
Really? Oh, my
Every time it
goodness.
comes on, I'm just binging it. I'm up in the middle of the
Yeah, you and everyone else.
And you were on one of probably my favorite season 5.
Yes, yes, I was. That was
Any
very...
fun stories?
Oh, honestly, that was actually one of the. That show is actually directed by, I think it was directed by a woman who was so nice. It's like a rugged and like mean kind of show as far as the characters, but everyone on the behind the scenes aspect of it were so nice. I was ready to go in like, all right, who do I have to fight? And then Ian Paola, he plays one of the inmates' boyfriends that I meet in the grocery store.
Oh, yes.
So
I
he,
can't remember his
he looks super intimidating in the show. So I was ready to be like, "What's up? How are you?" Like tough, and inside I'm like screaming. And he was actually so nice. Everybody was so sweet, and the woman who played his mom in that scene, I did In the Heights with her in Miami.
I love that show.
Yeah.
That's great. When you talked about, and I love those small world, moments where like you were in the Heights together, and we didn't talk about that. So what was it like within
Oh
the
my
Heights?
gosh. In the Heights is what made me get into musical theater. I was doing recording music and I was acting for independent films. I did In the Heights, and I actually went in for an ensemble role, and then I went in, and Stephanie Clemens, who's the associate choreographer now for Hamilton, no big deal, it's fine. She was super cool.
What a role to have.
Right. Yeah, and she hasn't
Like, now
stopped.
hey, can we have lunch?
Yeah, I was like, hey, staff, what's up? But I went in, all the dancers had to sing. I think there were like 2 cuts, and then I sang, It Won't Be Long Now. And Stephanie and Dave Arisco, who was our director, was like, we want you to come back for Vanessa. And I was like, who? I know, so bad, because I hadn't seen In the Heights. And I went in, and long story short, I booked Vanessa, and half of the Broadway cast came down to do it in Miami, because Lynn always wanted it to come to Miami. And the rest is history. Like, I just fell in love with, I was like, wait, I can sing, dance, and act at the same time, like, and just kind of be in this contemporary world. It opened up a whole new world to me and what I could do for my profession. So In the Heights kind of changed my life, which is wonderful.
That's a perfect segue into the last 3 rapid fire questions I like to ask.
Oh.
Christie, what is your biggest success? My turn.
There you go.
I'll catch it.
Ooh. I think my biggest success thus far, yes, it's the show. I'm definitely proud of it. I'm just proud of being a part of good work. I mean, us as actors, I feel like we're always auditioning and always trying to get the next gig. But there's a lot of gigs that that we just do to do sometimes because, you gotta pay the bills. But I feel like my biggest success is always being part of a wonderful story that I'm proud of, that I can represent my people unapologetically. I mean, how rare is that for our cast to be almost 100% Latino? That's never happened. So I feel lucky. I think I've made it when it comes to that.
Incredible. Do you have any regrets?
No. I think we always wish we could do things differently in our lives. I think that there's always things that we're just like, man, I wish I would have known what I know now back then, because then that wouldn't have happened. But I think that those trials and those mistakes are what make you today. And I think that that's the most important thing. I think failure is a beautiful thing. I think mistakes and tears and obstacles, I think that that's so necessary for substance in your life. Do I have regrets? I don't think I do. I mean, I wish I did things differently, but you know what? I look back at it and I'm like, it needed to happen because I have moxie now because of it, you know? Yeah.
Last question. What are you most thankful for in this moment?
My family. I'm definitely thankful for them. I mean, we take our family for granted sometimes. I know when I was like a teenager, I was like, get away from me, I hate you. But I'm so thankful for them because on my highs and on my lows, they're my rock. They're my foundation. They're everything to me. I do this for them. I'm representing them. I feel so grateful to have that support system that I know a lot of people don't have, sadly. And I never take it for granted now. I mean, I always, whenever I have a situation or a problem, I always go to them and they just always seem to know. And that's the wisdom that I'm talking about. That's the mistakes that they made, that they're like, we're gonna guide you in the best way possible.
Well, I'm thankful that you've been here with me today.
I'm thankful for you.
I'm thankful for you too. And I hope that you know you're now part of the Starlight family around here. And thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Talkin with Taylor. For more episodes like this, subscribe below and follow us on social media at KC Starlight. On Your Feet is currently playing at Starlight Theater now through May 27th. Get your tickets at kcstarlight.com.